right. Hello. So, let's see. So today we're working on my VR capstone project for school. So I got Unity set up. I've got some basic stuff set up and working already, which I can show off real quick. Let me get my controller turned on. Press the play button here. And grab my headset. Should hopefully do what I want it to. Nope, it didn't. I forgot I had it set up for working without VR, just temporarily. Oops. Then you come in here, turn that off, turn that on, and come to my project settings. Oh, and that's already on. So, okay, so now when I press play, it should do what I want it to. Okay, here we go. So now we're in VR space, and I can pick things up, move them around, press buttons, and get objects like this. Pull the trigger, hear sounds, and look at all my various objects. So everything's working the way that it should be. And let me take this, move it over here so it's easier to see. I guess we'll just leave it on left eye for now. Oh, put it to free aspect. That's much better. Okay. I can also turn off this canvas because do not need it right now. Alright, let me just play that again, make sure everything's working the way that I want it to. And pick stuff up and click buttons, and yeah, it's all working the way that I was wanting it to.
That's a low ragtime.
Yep, that's a video. Okay, so the thing to do now is to actually work on making the environment, because I have these objects, but I want to be able to actually do something with the environment that they're in. So let's see. So I already have a script. Where is it? It's called, what is it called? Set scene size. That's the one I want. And this one already has control over things and is able to figure out like your bounds. Like when you set up the VR and you tell it where you can be and where you can't be, and it does the chaperone stuff. This little bit of code right here actually gets those bounds, and right now all it does is print them out. But what I want to do, the first thing I want to do, the most basic thing I want to do, is I want to take this floor, let me rename it actually, and actually resize it to be within those bounds. So actually I don't need to add anything, I just need to grab this and drag it on there. And then we can do some editing in the code to make it do what we want. So let's see. The first thing is gonna be to actually go through and change the location of all the points on the corners. And with this plane, let me see, I gotta look some stuff up. I guess I could just set the scale. There's two ways to do it. I could either change the actual vertices to be in the position where they should be, or I could just adjust the scale to be the size that it is. I think I'm gonna go with the vertices because I think that'll be easier. Unity plane set vertex position, and let's see what we got. No, not shader graph. Yes, I think this is what I want. This seems right. let's see. So we get the mesh filter and the mesh, and then we get the vertices, and okay, I guess this code just moves them up, but what I want to do is actually set them equal to the points that I'm getting from the function I have set up right now. So let's see. Let me copy this stuff and throw it over here, and I can start working with it. I don't need this comment anymore, thank you so much. So I have my mesh, I have my vertices. Cool. And then I have my points down here, and I mean, all I need to do is, I guess I'll just create, I'll just create a variable real quick. Counter is 0, and then, vertices at the counter. Dot. Do I say dot position, or is it just? Nope, you just set them to a vector 3. Okay, well that's easy. Vertices at counter equals point divided by 2. And I'm not really sure why it's divided by 2. I just know that it is from some testing. I assume it's something to do with Unity and the way that they do sizes and stuff, but I've tested it and I've double checked and, you know, gone to the actual corners and made sure. And when you divide the points you get from this by 2, you get the actual points in the Unity space that you want. And we don't need to debug that. And then after that happens, what's the other thing we have to do? We have to set the vertices to be whatever the new vertices are, and then recalculate. Yeah, recalculate. So I think if I do that and come back over here and let it refresh, I'm pretty certain there's only 4 vertices on this mesh. If there were more, that would be a problem, but I think the regular plane only has 4 vertices. I guess I'm going to find out right now if there is a problem. There's definitely more than 4 vertices. Okay. Well, then gonna have to do some other finagling. I thought the base Unity plane only had 4 vertices, but that's obviously not the case. Oops. I thought I could... Thought I could view that, but I guess not. Okay. So I guess what I actually have to do is calculate all the vertices. Weesh. That's not super fun. Maybe I'll just go with scaling it then, because that's going to be easier than this. I'll come back to this at some point, because I think eventually, with more complex shapes, this is going to be a necessity. But for now, I'm going to not do that. So let's see. The thing with this is that it gets 4 points, but we only need 2 of them, because the way that it works is it gets the negative and positives on both sides. So with 2 vertices, we should be able to get, actually, it's a square, so probably with 1 vertice we could actually get all of the data that we need. So let's just forget about this altogether. Boundary is going to be our current boundaries, and let me see. This dot game object dot scale. No, transform scale. That's what I need. Transform dot scale, and it's going to be the local. I think it's going to be lossy because I want it to be global. It's going to be underscore boundaries dot, nope, boundaries at 0. Here, let me actually make that its own. Bound point equals equals underscore boundaries at 0, so I don't have to keep doing this. And if I take the, actually, and I want to absolute value it, math.abs, is that how you do it? Apparently not. Is it like math F? Yeah, it's math F. And what that doesn't know ABS, because it's a capital. Can I do vector3.abs? Ugh. I could normalize it, but that's not what I want. Unity vector 3 absolute value? Well, I don't think it's gonna work. No. Okay. Well, I'll just take the absolute value for each point then. It's not too big a deal. Boundaries at 0, and I just have to make sure I take the absolute value for each one. Oh, I do need to divide this by 2 though, because of, like what I said earlier, for whatever reason, it's divide by 2. So, let's see, we're gonna do the bound point, I can't even remember the thing that's right above it, dot x, comma, bound point dot y, comma, bound point dot z. Set. Okay, so I can set the local scale, but not the lossy scale. Oh, no, I'm just gotta do this. You set it to a new vector 3. You don't set it like a function, except this one. Okay, yeah, so no, it does have to be local scale. Cool, but it's not parented to anything, so that should be its global scale anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So now I could try to run this, but I'm pretty sure all it's gonna do is have some negative values, which won't actually matter, I guess, because it's just gonna flip them. Or maybe it's gonna matter more than I thought. Okay, well the middle one should be 0 because the Y scale doesn't matter, except that it messes the whole thing up, so it matters in that sense. So let me just set that to 1, and math f.abs of the x, and math f.abs of the z. And now hopefully that worked. I didn't see if there was an error. I feel like there may have been, which could have been what caused the problem. But let me take a look. No errors. So hopefully it'll work if I run it this time. Okay, got 1.05 and 0.009. Is that right? I mean, it doesn't seem right, but it totally could be. No, that's absolutely not right. Okay, now then I gotta figure out why not. Let's see. Okay, let me bring this back so that I can actually see what the points coming out of this are, including the 0 point. And wow, I'm a little confused here because I'm pretty sure that should have worked, but it did not. Okay, so the points we got coming out of here: 2.1, 1.8, 1.8. Show. Oh, maybe I should divide by. Yeah, okay, I have to divide by 4 because dividing by 2 will get it on both sides, but since it's the sides added together, I need it to be a fourth, not a half. So that last one was basically twice as big as it should have been. This should be scaled in to be exactly the right size. Let's see what we get there. Yeah, that's still too big. Why is that still too big? I don't think it needs to be an 1/8. It still looks like it's about twice as too big. I'm gonna try an 1/8 and see what happens. Maybe because it's two-dimensional, it's a square thing, and I did the math wrong. It's a strong possibility of doing the math wrong. Let's see. Is this gonna be the right size? Because I can't see the bounds in here. Okay. No, that's still too big. Why is that still too big? I'm gonna assume it's still too big because the scale is not, it's not necessarily, yeah, okay. So I think I do have, I think I can just make a new mesh. I don't think I have to adjust the mesh that's there. So let me try that. So forget all of that. And don't forget that because we need all 4 of the points. And we need the counter, and we're gonna need both of these things. And I think instead of this, oops, there we go. Instead of this, I think I want to just make a new mesh, which I think is something I can do. Oh, I need to comment these as well. Go. So I think I want to say mesh is just equal to new mesh. And vertices is meshed up vertices. Well, actually, I don't really care about that. I'm actually going to take that out. And I know I want 4 vertices. But that's not how that works either. I think it works like that. Yes, okay. So now I have a set of vertices and a new mesh. And down here I'm saying all of this. And I think now what I'm saying is get component. What was it? Mesh renderer? Nah, that's not one. Mesh filter, that's what I want. Mesh filter dot mesh is equal to mesh. I should probably rename some of these things because that naming convention could get confusing pretty quickly. But hopefully this is a mesh that works. I don't know if it does quads. I might have to turn that into tries. But we'll see. I'm gonna run it and see what comes out of it. And hopefully it's what I want to come out of it and not something that I don't understand, because then I won't understand it. Let's see. It's running and okay, we got nothing. I understand the concept of nothing, but it's not what I was hoping for. Okay. So maybe gotta look up how to make a mesh in Unity. That's probably a good idea. How to create a mesh with C# in Unity. And let's see what we got. Our little Stack Overflow. Whatever he's doing. Okay, so we get the mesh, and then we got the vertices, and then we got the triangle. So 4 vertices, cool. 0, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, because that's going to be the orientation of how it does the 2 triangles. I think I get that. Alright, let's just copy this, and we're going to make it into a new function that we can use in here. Let's see. Private void change mesh or resize mesh. I'm gonna go with resize mesh and paste that. None of that copied. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so if I take all the tab key is close to a lot of other buttons apparently. Okay, so the mesh is gonna be that. New vertices, add, okay, but I don't care about this because I'm already setting my vertices up here. So I think actually I'm gonna take this stuff out and I'm gonna call resize mesh at the end. So I'm gonna need, well, I know all the stuff it's starting with, so I can just, I can get rid of this. And I think I can just say T-unit, T-stone. I think I'm gonna not worry about these right now because I don't need to worry about texturing it yet. I'm gonna set this to vertices. I'm gonna make a triangles. I'm gonna make a triangles array. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. And a vector 3 triangles. It's going to be a new vector 3 of size 6 because determines how the triangles work. It's a weird thing, but I guess it makes sense. And I'm just going to say for each of these, D, triangles at some position is going to be equal to that, and that position is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I think I can take out the parentheses here. Oh, this isn't a vector 3, is it? It's a integer. Like that. And there we go. Yeah, okay. So, and now I don't have to do any of that. I can just say triangles. Okay, now is this going to do what I want? That's the question. And the answer is hopefully. Delicious. Okay. Oh wait, I think I know why. It's because mesh is not what it's supposed to be anymore. Well, no, hold on. Mesh is get component and mesh filter. I can actually probably take this out now. Mesh is get component mesh filter, mesh equals mesh to vertices, clear, blah 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 blah. Recalculate normals. What's up with that? Do I have to reset the mesh filter? Seems like maybe. What do we do here? We recalculate bounds here. Okay. I mean, we're doing something because the mesh disappears, and if we weren't doing anything, the mesh wouldn't disappear. But we're not, whatever it is we're doing is not right. Yeah, no. Optimize, recalculate. I mean, the only other thing I can think is we can do get component mesh filter, and we can set the mesh equal to mesh. And see if that has an effect. Which seems weird, but maybe you just can't edit the mesh in place or something? I don't know. No. Oh, wait. Hold on. I think that's just the collider, which we're not recalculating. So I think that might actually not have anything to... Maybe I should just be disregarding this collider. I'm worrying more about the fact that nothing shows up, which is important too. I don't need those. Clear the vertices of the vertices. And the vertices are these points that end up getting printed out. Oh my god. Counter plus plus. Duh. I was setting all... this has probably been working the whole time. I was setting each vertice to just be wherever the first one was. I wasn't setting them to be the 4 individual vertices. That's gonna probably work, isn't it? Yep. Okay. Alright. Well, that makes me feel... Oh, that's... Yep. Perfectly within the bounds. Exactly what I was looking for. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad that worked. Even though that was... fun. That's fun. Fun is what that was. Okay, so let me do that. And I might not need this hole to function if this is literally all that we have to do. I'm not gonna go through. I'm not gonna do a whole function just for that. And let me piece that in there. Guest component, melter, okay. Don't resize the mesh. I'm not gonna get rid of the function yet, but I'm not gonna use it. Vertices and vertices, recalculate, and let's see if that works. Crossing my fingers here. Okay, well that fell, which is fine. That doesn't look right. That does not look right. Nah, it's too big. So there's something else to it. Oh, and we got an error. Mesh dot versus is too small. Okay. So mesh dot vertices is too small, really? This is the same in here. Didn't complain about it in here. Why is it too small? Huh. How weird. Well, I'm gonna not worry about that too much and just stick with actually what did work. And I can figure out what the deal is with that later on. Let me just double check I didn't just break everything. I'm gonna run this again. And we're gonna see. Didn't get the mesh vertices too small, and yeah, that's perfectly within the bounds of what I am working with. Now the only other thing is the mesh collider. I gotta make sure that that works, because otherwise the floor isn't much of a floor. It's kind of just, okay. So that's way too big. So maybe I just gotta do mesh. I'm assuming there's like a mesh collider, recalculate the bounds or something. I guess we'll see. Get component, mesh collider, bounds. Recalculate. Yeah, let's go and do our trusty little search again. Unity, mesh collider, recalculate, bounds. That's the mesh filter recalculate bounds. Is that gonna do what I want it to? I can find out pretty easy. No, because I'm already recalculating the bounds, so no, that's not gonna do what I want it to. I feel like I remember a trick that where you just like disable and then re-enable it and that works, but it feels like a hacky way to do it. but maybe that's what I do. Get component, closest point, and transform, blah, 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 blah. I'm just gonna do that and see if that does what it needs to. Maybe I need to, maybe I need to set the shared mesh. I'm gonna bet that'll do it, maybe. Yeah, I only got the shared mesh, and that's gonna be equal to the mesh. And let's see if that does it. And I'm gonna cross my fingers here, and I'm gonna press play. And I'm gonna check out the scene. And I can't see the mesh collider, but the thing's not falling, which makes me think that it probably worked. Yeah, look at that. 2 big triangles, mesh render, there we go. So now this folder seems a little big for the size workspace we're dealing with. So I'll probably size that down. But yeah, it's a lot easier to work with because now I don't have stuff. I know that stuff is going to have to be contained within a space I can actually work in. Because before I was spawning stuff outside of it without really thinking too much about it. But now if I spawn stuff outside the bounds I can actually work in, I won't be able to get to it, which is not going to work for me. Okay. Let's try like that size. And I think I'm also going to make the hand smaller because... There we go. Oh, and I'm also going to fix this to make this as small as I can because the hand clips into your face and it just looks weird. But if you set that value super low, so there's no near clipping plane, you have to worry about it. Where'd my hand go? This is not the one I was using, but I'll turn this one on. Oh, there it is. Whatever. Okay, so now I got my little hand. I got my little folder, which I can pick up and I can open, and all this stuff pops out. And it's still way too big, but I can fix that too. Oh yeah, these are just some warnings because of some unhandled file types, but that's because I don't know how to deal with zip files yet, which I'll deal with in the future. Okay, so that's most of what I want to do right now. There's also going to be some stuff I want to do about like putting furniture in. I guess I could do that right now. I think actually mostly what I want to work on right now is actually these folders, because currently the folders you can like explode them open and get all the stuff out, but you can't actually go and like put stuff back into the folder. It's a one-way process. So let me see if I can actually go to my D drive to the sandbox that I'm looking for. Okay, so this is where all those folders are, and I'm just gonna make a new... Oh, well, that was smart of me in an unintentional way. I was doing that off the screen that can be seen. But now here we go. So this basically is the folder on my computer that it's reading those files from. Everything's dynamic, and if you change the files in here, it'll change the files that pop up, yada yada. This is gonna be called, I'm gonna call this like images. I'm gonna call another folder like sounds, because I want to be able to set this up so that you can like basically go in and organize your folders in VR. And I'm gonna call this one videos, and then I have the I'm not gonna spawn the unknowns for now right now. So let's see. So the first thing to do is actually deal with spawning those folders and also actually opening the folder when you open it, instead of just having it disappear and do whatever. And I actually already have a that's done. Let me minimize that. I already actually have a animation on these and the collider set up and everything, so that I can or at least I did have the collider set up. Did they get unset up? Well, they must have. Well, I'll fix that in just a second. But basically I have an animation that actually like opens the folder. Here, I think I can show off that animation if I come to the models and the folder and the animation. So I just have one animation. It's not the best animation in the world and I need to work on it, but it was just kind of a proof of concept. And basically it actually just, it's like, you know, the folder opens up so you can see what was inside, or closes if you go the other way. So I need to figure out how to actually use the animation system and have it so that when you open the folder, it just doesn't disappear. It actually, you know, opens. And I'll probably have to actually... Definitely gonna have to make this text. All right, I'm gonna have to do this in the prefab because it's gonna affect a bunch of stuff. So let's go and edit the prefab. First of all, what is this? I don't know what. Oh, that's the actual object itself. This is a. These are just the bones that make it work. So first things first. This third bone I know is the like the outside of the folder. So I need to make this text a child of that bone because it has to, you know, rotate with it. Because otherwise it would just stay there while the thing opens up, and that would look weird. And then I actually need to remove this top level box collider, and come in and add box colliders to each of the sub pieces, so that when the animation plays, the collisions work the way that they should. So. Okay, I'm in isometric view, and now I'm going straight from the side. And okay, so I'm on the first bone, which is going to control basically this whole left side. So I can add a box collider regular. I can edit it, and I'm going to drag this down, and I'm going to drag that down. And it's basically everything up to the pages, so I'm going to just encapsulate that. And then I need to rotate and make sure that we are extending that out to the sides properly. And yeah, okay, so that's that one. I'm not gonna worry about this middle bone because it controls the part in the middle, but there's not really any way to, that doesn't really have any influence. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me add another box collider, and then this one is gonna actually control, you know, everything on this side of the pages. So I need to resize that accordingly to be like that. And if I come to the other side, so I can actually rescale it on the sides. Green on yellow is so easy to see. Okay, and now when I actually play the animation, the collider should stick to those and actually, you know, open with it. So that's most of what I had to do, and then since this is a prefab, all those changes actually apply to the final product in the actual scene. So is there like a collider that's maybe just remove this component. Actually, I'm gonna do it in here. Let me remove this component. Yeah, okay. So now the only colliders on the object should be the ones that are actually assigned to a bone, so that it works properly. And let me just double check that this does what I'm expecting it to, and you're still able to pick up the folder. Nope, it does not. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to figure out why that is. Let's see. I thought that child colliders like bubbled up and you could use them, and they still applied to like the top level, because like the top level has this folder controller script, but it does not seem that that is the case. Yeah. I know why it's happening, I just don't know how to fix it. Make child colliders affect parent. Okay, that's a lot of code. And okay, compound colliders. Okay, so in the child's function and the parent's function. Alright, let's see if this will give me a little bit more clarity as to what is happening. Where's my hand controller? There it is. So this on trigger enter is where the important stuff happens, and on trigger enter I can debug.log c.name, and this should tell me when I put my hand into the folder what object it actually thinks we're triggering. Because I thought that what would happen is that the top level would just kind of, you know, would get the message basically. Okay, so it says bone here, so it says we're colliding with the bone. All right, well yeah, it's an issue out of the gate because we want it to be, we want it to say folder in there somewhere, and it does not. I mean, I don't want to make these. These are already triggers. So, does this just need to have a collider on it? Otherwise, it won't work. That seems weird, but maybe that'll work. I'm gonna give it a try. Top foot. Okay. Still not seeing folder in there anywhere. Yeah, bone and no folder. Okay, well I guess we gotta find out about compound colliders. Okay, problem context and knowledge body. Come in handy when you have a model. Create child objects of your colliding, add a collider to each. So that's your position, rotate, and scale. Okay, so that's the problem that we're having, is that they're returning their individual. We want that to bubble up to the top. So, so the question is, how do you do that? On trigger enter if other tag is see. Give the child a kinematic rigid body separated from the parent collision. Still allow it to be moved by the parent's transform instead of physics. Are we aware? Separate entities. Oh, I see what this is saying. That's not what I want, though. Let me see. Okay. Bubble up children's collision to parent and unity. Let's see if that gives me something. Oh, not game object. There we go. Yes. So every time you get a collision with something, it sends it up the chain and keeps searching until you find the object that you want. And I can replace all these C.game objects with just collide object. So this should do what I want. So when we collide with an object that is the child of, you know, whatever it is we're trying to deal with, it will search up the chain until it finds the object that doesn't have a parent, which in our case is what we want. That might need to be changed later because there could be a chance that things are going to be parented, but for right now this will work. So basically, once it loads, no, it's fine. We get a collision with, like, let's say bone 02. It says, okay, does this have a parent? It does. Okay, let's check here. Does this have a parent? Okay, it does. Let's check here. Okay, does this have a parent? It does. Let's check here. And then it gets up to here and says, does this have a parent? No. And then we do all of our checks for the actual object itself. So this should work now. I should be able to pick up the folder just like I did before, except it works better now. Why am I tracking so bad? There we go. Yeah, there we go. And I don't see any errors, and if I pull the trigger, everything works just the way that it did before. That's awesome. Yep, and even these objects that are... Ooh. Even these objects that are still the same way, they are already the top level parent objects, so they don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Okay, so let's see. So then what's next? What's next? Okay, well that was important because, you know, we're going to have animations on objects, and that's going to be something that needs to be dealt with. So now what we need to worry about is actually animating this object. So I think I want an animator. I really should watch a video on how to do this whole thing because I'm not super confident with it. Yeah, it's giving me all kinds of problems. Let me see. Let me get a new... I think if I go to animation and animator, yeah, that's the one I want. So what does it say? Any state to open does not have an exit time or any condition. Transition will be ignored. Okay. So I think what I need to do is add a condition here. Alright, that's it. I'm looking up a tutorial on this. Unity animation system. Let's get some knowledge on this. Okay. So this is for some much more complicated stuff. But let's see what we can get from this. I want to worry about the controller. Yeah. And I want it to be doing... Okay, here we go. Let's see what this can tell me. Okay. So I think I want to have two states, open and closed. And I think also I can delete that connection. Yeah, because entry... I think I actually want to do a new create state empty. See, I'm not sure exactly how this works because it's from 0 to 1, basically. I don't want it to play right away. I basically just want to control how open it is with some variable. Reading. Okay. So I need to definitely add a parameter that's going to be called like open. And it's going to wait. Add view. Oh no, I didn't want a layer. I wanted a parameter. How do I get rid of you? There we go. Okay, is a bool, and it's going to be called open. And when it's triggered, the folder should be open, and when it's not, it should be closed. So I gotta use the restroom. I will be right back. That's better. Let's get back into this. So, okay, so I have a state. So I need to figure out, how does this state work to actually like open and close the folder. I think I want to copy this and then paste it. And I think what I can do is I can make this like a mirror. And basically if I make a transition here and then create an empty state called like stay open or something like that, and then if I transition from here to move to there, and then from stay open, okay, so I need to delete this. Stay open is going to transition to open. Open is going to transition to, well, I named everything backwards, but okay, this one should be called close. Okay, alright, I'm getting it now. All the puzzle pieces falling into place. Okay, so I don't actually want to start with that. I want to start with close. From entry, make a transition to close. Okay, well, maybe I'm confused about something. Oops. But basically, open should transition to stay open. Stay open should transition to close. Close should transition to stay closed. Stay closed should transition to open. And because this should be the cycle, right? Like, it's open, and then in this situation it stays open, and then we're going to play the close animation, and then it's going to stay closed, and then we're going to do this. So I think I just need to set what actually makes this happen, basically. Okay, so that looks right. And then this doesn't have an animation, but it should. It should just be this animation backwards. Maybe I'm confused, because maybe I just need to do that. That seems like it makes a lot more sense. Well, something definitely doesn't work right. So weird. Maybe this doesn't need to have anything on it. Okay, so that opens, and what does this transition do? Nothing, because there's no animation here. Okay. Maybe if I mirror it and the cycle offset is 1? Does that make sense? Okay, well that definitely opens it. And let me set this back to be my open folder. Same problem as before. So what does the cycle offset do? Unless I'm just confused. Well, obviously I'm confused. This animation thing is confusing. Maybe I'll take a break from streaming for a bit and actually watch a video and figure out how this animation thing works, and then I'll come back, because this is not very interesting just watching me try to figure this out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be back later.